So we will begin with the webinar now. Good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Sakshi Verma, an alumnus of Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University and the supporting team of University of Tokyo webinar. And today we are here for the Global Network Project for University of Tokyo India Office. This project aims to attract Japanese students primarily from Southeast Asia and encourage them to pursue their higher studies in Japan. This program is sponsored by MEXT, Japan's Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. In today's webinar, we've been joined by a couple of renowned universities in Japan, as well as professors, and each of these universities will give a 20-minute presentation about their programs offered at undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels, followed by a 5-minute Q&A session. Students are free to ask the questions on our Q&A portal and not the chat section. And you may send in your questions anytime during the presentations, and we will answer them simultaneously. And please make sure to use our Q&A feature to the fullest and submit your queries over there and not on the chat box. And I request all the panelists to please make sure to turn off your audios and videos while you're not presenting. We will send in a questionnaire during our presentations in the chat box, which will take about 3 minutes. So I request all of you to please fill in the form. Can we have the agenda slide for today? Thank you so much, Khushi-san. So first up, we have Ms. Khushi Jhaveri, who is the Study Abroad Coordinator for University of Tokyo, and she will be explaining about the programs and the course and about University of Tokyo and the webinar. So Khushi-san, can you please take the platform?
Thank you, Ms. Sakshi. Give me a minute, please. Okay, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. A very good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Khushi Jhaveri, the Study Abroad Coordinator for University of Tokyo India Office. And we're here again for the Global Network Project of Southwest Asia by METS. Our office conducts outreach webinars for students across India to encourage them to pursue their further studies in Japan. Some of the best national, public, and private universities in Japan have been collaborating with us for these webinars to give you all an insight into their English degree programs offered at undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels. Through our webinars, you'll gain a comprehensive overview of the English degree programs, student life, and scholarships offered by various universities. Today, we have been joined by 4 renowned universities in Japan that will be presenting, and our expertise will help you with any questions that you might have regarding Japanese universities. We'll also be sharing useful links and contact addresses of every university so that you could also contact them after the webinar. So please note them immediately. Also, hurry up and register for the upcoming webinars in 2023. The registration link will also be sent in the chat box. Please have a look at all the links that will be sent. Now sit back and relax and enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Khushi. I hope we have able to motivate some of the students regarding in the University of Tokyo and this webinar. Thank you so much. So can we have the agenda slide again?
Sure, thank you.
So next up, we have a special lecture by Professor Hema Nuthapalli from Shimane University. So Professor, would you mind sharing your screen?
Yes, thank you. I'm just sharing right now. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Can I keep my video off, or probably I should?
It's okay, Professor. Whatever is
fine.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mind, but I better at least show my face once and then give me 1 second. Well, I think my screen is started sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and I'm Hemant, and I'm going to talk about biomedical applications around spectroscopy and imaging. So first, I would like to actually thank the organizers, the University of Tokyo India Office, and Professor Kato. In fact, I'll show you a small picture later. the first thing is that today, this part of the lecture is going to be a very technical one, not introduction to the university and so on, which will follow in the, by next speakers. But what I want to do today is to introduce what is Raman spectroscopy and what are the potential applications of Raman spectroscopy, especially in biomedical sciences. And when I saw the agenda slides, the program is about only 20-25 minutes for me. So for the sake of time, I'm going to really give you a very few number of examples. So what I would rather change today is that I would probably hoping that introduce more examples in the future. So I'll say this is part one of my presentations in this perhaps series. So I would say biomedical applications of Raman spectroscopy. So I will not talk too much about imaging today, but let's say this is part one, and in the next perhaps opportunity, I'll talk more in detail about imaging. So we are in Life and Environmental Sciences and Shimano University, and here is my contact address. So you can always get in touch with me if you're interested in any of the works that I'm going to share now. So first and foremost, let me thank Professor Kato. He visited recently and he saw what we are doing, and he was also very much impressed. And he thought, why not introduce technical sessions? And here I am trying to introduce what we are doing in Shimano University. And of course, all the support from the organizers. Thank you very much for having me here. So, as I said, I'm going to just tell you what is Raman spectroscopy, and I'm going to be very superficial about it, not going very deep, so that anybody who is here, any student from any background, whether it's like natural sciences or even engineering, can try and understand what we are doing. And also, I'll pointedly give you 3 applications where we can use this technique for classification of breast cancer cells or even drug-resistant cells, especially in cancers like leukemia, and also how we can diagnose, diseases like such as eosinophilic esophagitis. And when I how does it go? Why cannot I? Give me a second. How am I going to do this? So I cannot see the title of my slide itself, but okay. Anyways, so when we talk about label-free analysis, or for example, biomedical sciences, what we are trying to understand or what we are trying to detect are some molecules. We want to make some decisions based on the molecular information. So we want molecular information from as small as single cells. We also want information from tissues. We want to get any kind of molecular information at any level, from single cell to whole animal or whole body level. So based on the information, molecular information or chemical information, we make some decisions. Just what that is exactly what doctors do. When you go for some testing, they take your blood and then they check what is the count of certain kind of chemicals or cells and so on, and then they'll say, okay, you have this kind of condition or that. So what happens is that in many of the cases, there are techniques that the existing techniques are not sufficient in order to be very specific, in order to actually find a certain molecule or certain concentrations and so on. So what we do, we try and use Raman spectroscopy. And why do we do that? I'll tell you that in a moment. So whenever we talk about, say, single cell analysis, usually people think about, say, fluorescence spectroscopy or microscopy, where you already want to kind of detect certain type of molecule. So you will tag that with certain colors, for example, here, and then you can put it under the microscope and just try to observe that. But the big caveat is that you must already know what you want to look at. In especially these diagnoses, what happens is that we are trying to do exploratory analysis where we do not know any information. We want to actually see what is in there and what are the differences. And then based on those differences, we should be able to actually make a new model for classification or discrimination or even for diagnosis. So I'm not really saying that fluorescence is not good. It's very, very useful in many, many applications. But for the purpose that we set out to, it doesn't work so much. So what we do, we use we want to know whether there is some kind of a technique that can study the whole system as it is. We don't want to change anything. We don't want to modify anything. We don't want to actually do anything at all. We just want to observe, just observe. But we want molecular information during our observation. How do we do that? With high specificity and high sensitivity? Well, that is where Raman microscopy comes in. Well, what is Raman microscopy? I think most of the students probably that are listening to this presentation today are from India. So probably you must have already heard of Raman, okay? Sir C.V. Raman, who got Nobel Prize in 1928. So you see, he got Nobel Prize in 1928, and 1928 he discovered, and in 1930, just 2 years later, he got Nobel Prize. And for all the Asian students here, we should all be proud because he's the first Asian Nobel laureate in science. So let's all be proud of the discovery of Raman effect. So what is Raman effect? It's a simple technique where we are looking at light scattering. And how does it, or why does it scatter? Simply because of the vibrational modes or vibrational frequencies. Simply because the atoms in a molecule are moving in a certain with certain energy. How do we understand that? Let's say probably you must have heard about some kind of CH2 or some kind of simple methylene modes. Here we come think of this is carbon. These are two hydrogens. They're all moving all the time, and they have different kinds of motions, and each of the motion is kind of associated with certain energy. And if we are able to understand, detect that energy, then we can say what kind of vibration that is and what kind of atoms are involved in the vibration. That way, we are able to actually characterize at the molecular level. So let's not go deeper into that because we don't have so much time. These are some basic phenomenon where we can simply use a laser and then try to detect the vibrational scattering. How do we actually do the experiment? So we have certain sample in a test tube. It doesn't need to be only in a test tube. It can be any sample. It can be gas. It can be solid. It can be in any phase, solids or liquids or gases, doesn't matter. We just put a laser of one single color, and then what happens is that you can see if I shine the sample with a green laser, we can also see all other colors coming out, right? Those are scattered lights, but they have lost or gained some energy from the incident light. So if you give green energy and if red light comes out, that means the red light is longer in wavelength, and that means it has less energy. Similarly, there are so many different colors. It can also be, gaining energy. But anyways, what happens is that this green energy, a green laser light that we actually shine, it's a one monochromatic light, single color, and we cut that out. We cut that out and then only collect other colors of light that emanates from this sample. And these are Raman photons. These are Raman scattered photons. What we do, we cannot see because it's a very, very weak process. So what we do is we put a spectrometer and a detector. Spectrometer will actually disperse the light, and then we can get some kind of a spectrum like that. And each of on this axis, what we see as Raman shifts technically means different colors, right? So we have different colors of light at different intensities, and this will give you, this is actually called as a molecular fingerprint because every single molecule has a very unique pattern of this kind of scattered Raman spectrum. And in addition, what happens is if you put a microscope, for example, instead of this test tube, if you put a microscope there, now we can even look at very small cells or very, very small samples like cells and so on. And we can actually try and detect molecular or chemical information in a certain point or in a certain position within even cells. So we can achieve sub-micron spatial resolution. We can do, and also we are just shining light, just some light, okay? So it does, as long as the power is not too high for certain wavelengths, it is not harmful. So we can even do in vivo analysis. We don't have to break down anything. We don't have to kill anything. We don't have to do anything at all. We can just directly measure samples as they are. And we do not need any modification to the samples in order to identify any of the molecules. So, well, these are the advantages. And I'm going to skip this slide for how do we do imaging? Perhaps I can do that in the next opportunities. Let me just simply go and tell you that these are the large number of Raman spectra we get, and this is actual data. And what happens is this contains actually 6,500 spectra like these. And then that means we have about 8.5 million points, data points within this data. This is an actual data. That means we have large data. So we accumulate large data. That automatically means that we have to do we eventually do a lot of data processing and also try and take advantage of the data and do lots of multivariate statistics and also machine learning and AI, and try and get some kind of molecular information and images like that. We have, in 2014, Professor Yamamoto actually established a Raman Project Center for medical applications in Shimane University. We have a very large group of professors, more than 10 professors working together with many international collaborations, and we do all sorts of applications. And we have all the nice facilities. We have different lasers, all sorts of facilities we do have for conducting Raman experiments. So I am going to now rush because 15 more minutes for me, and then I'll have, say, possibly 3 different examples. So what we want to do now is we want to actually classify cancer cells in a very reliable manner, because in many practical applications, in clinical applications, what happens is we have to decide where is the cancer, for example, where it is not cancerous and where it is cancerous. In that case, in tissue level, we can, of course, do during the surgery. But even before that, we also wanted to understand what are the major differences between, say, cancer cells and normal cells, and how we can actually try and automate this kind of classification. So by using Raman spectroscopy. So I'll just give you a brief of, especially in this case, where I said cancer cells, but we are particularly looking at breast cancers. Okay, so how we can separate breast cancers by Raman spectroscopy? Is it possible? Well, actually, it is not a big, advancement, because if you can see, many people, even actually Professor Krishna, he's actually my collaborator in this work, and he's one of the first professors who actually published, for example, mixtures of breast cancers and leukemia cells, and then they could show by measuring Raman spectra, you can actually separate them using some kind of analysis such as PCA and so on. And also you can mix just various different kinds of breast cancers cell lines, and still you can make some kind of discrimination to some fair degree. And people have used all sorts of various techniques and analytical methods. For example, it could be LDA, where we can make discriminatory analysis, and we can also have a very fair degree to about 80% or so. So already people have demonstrated that it is possible to actually separate breast cancer cells. But why am I doing this research again, right? The big problem is that nobody even talks about this. I said this is a molecular fingerprint, but that means there's a lot of chemical information hidden in this data, but we don't really discuss any of the molecular information, because if you go to a doctor has to make a decision based on the abundance of certain molecule, right? They have to know whether this molecule is high, if this molecule is low, this could be this condition. So any of this decision making actually happens based on real molecular information, but not simple mathematical models only. So then I thought, okay, let me try and do it and try to dig into this. So that's how I started. And so this is HMAPC is human mammary epithelial cells. These are normal breast cells. So MCF7 is breast cancer cells. And you can see some small differences to the naked eye. However, this is not sufficient. We cannot just rely on them. And if you actually take a simple bands, single bands, and then say, okay, this band is very high in this cell line and other is high in another cell line, for example, that wouldn't work simply because these are molecules that are actually present in both conditions, and minor changes in the concentration levels will actually indicate some kind of information or change the altered state. So we cannot rely purely simply on single bands. What we do, of course, we also tried principal component analysis, where we can try and see the structure of the data. So we do see that there's a very nice structure where we can separate these two. However, we cannot really make any sense out of this analysis in terms of molecular information. So we cannot rely whether in real situation whether it will be able to actually separate or not. We can also do lots of machine learning and so on, supervised models like LDA or SVM, and we can actually even achieve very high percentage of accuracy, about 98%. But still, we do not know on what basis we are actually making this decision. In order to do that, well, we develop something called as multivariate curve resolution analysis, where we are trying to extract molecular information from the cells. So what happens is that when I say these Raman spectra, so this is just one spectrum, but the point is that depending on where you actually measure the spectrum, it will change. And this spectrum is an aggregate of all sorts of different molecules or chemicals present in that particular point. So it's just mixed up. So what we want to do is we want to unmix. We want to unmix molecular components. And what we can do is, because we know there are certain conditions for Raman spectra, so we apply those conditions, we try to actually get pure component spectra. And these are also, these are the results of pure component unmixing analysis. For each of these spectrum will be unmixed or separated into each of these components, about 5 components. Then we are able to actually separate structurally similar lipids. For example, when I said lipid 1, 2, 3, we can actually see the differences in the abundance of these lipids. So we have nucleic acids, we have proteins, we have 3 different kinds of lipids that we could separate from both these cell lines. And by looking at all the relative abundances and so on, we are able to actually make sense that the ratios of this lipid 1 particularly has a very significant difference compared to the other 2 lipids. And why is that? We do not know. Well, what is that lipid? Also, we do not know. So we have to actually make a I'm I think slow, but anyways, we construct this large library of lipids, and then what happens is that we can look at the unsaturation index. So whether there's one single bond, a double bond, or 2 double bonds, and so on. So this is actually a standard calibration curve that we measured from standard chemicals. And then these colored dots are actually from these cancer cell lines. And what we can see is that this lipid 1 that we observed actually contains 2 double bonds in the structure. And that actually means something like this, right? These are linoleic acid. Linoleic acids contain 2 double bonds like that. And of course, you can go very detailed analysis and then see if this particular band exactly doesn't match, all the whole spectrum matches. Then we can actually see that it's not just simple linoleic acid, but it's a trilinolein, and that actually matches very well. But what I'm saying is that we are able to actually not only identify the molecule group, for example, is lipid difference or some kind of protein, but we are also actually able to pinpointedly find out exactly which kind of molecule, which molecule itself is particularly or significantly different. So we found that linoleic acid is different, and then there are also different examples or effects. So we don't have to go into that. Technically, what it means is that in cancerous condition, what we find is that we find less concentration of this particular lipoic fatty acid, and that could actually mean some kind of biological, it has some biological meaning. And then, well, we now have extracted everything. We know that this particular lipid is different in between these 2 cell lines, but then this analysis has to be done manually. It cannot be automated because of certain reasons. So what we did was, okay, we now know that there are certain molecular components. Can we automate it? That is where we wanted to use artificial neural networks. And we did all sorts of modeling like that with very detailed modeling and testing. And then what we do, well, we don't have to get into too much of the neural networks. The point is that we also obtain 98% accuracy again with neural networks. And now this does not need any more manual input. Once the model is built, then you get a new spectrum from a cell, perhaps, and then you just put it into this model and say, okay, whether it's cancerous or normal. It'll predict immediately. And we also now try to dig into that by looking at interpretability of the AI model that we developed. And now we know that this particular model is also using the same signatures that we found using other analysis, that is the same lipid signatures. So that way we are able to actually make some kind of a reliable model. In fact, this is not published yet, it's under review now, but these are the molecular information based modeling that can let us very reliably classify or discriminate different kinds of cancers, especially in this case that can separate from breast cancers from normal cells. Well, because I gave one example in detail, I'm going to rush from now in next 6 minutes to give you very brief of 2 other examples. So now we are looking at some kind of leukemia cells. It's chronic myeloid leukemia. What happens is that this can be detected, and a doctor gives you medicine, and then in many cases, what happens is as you keep taking the medicine, there is some kind of resistance that develops, and as the resistance develops, then of course, the drug doesn't work. Then you have to keep changing the drugs, or it will lead to even more serious consequences. So what we want to know is very early on, if we can identify that there is some kind of resistance that's building up, then that it will be very, very useful in order to change the course of action. That way, it will be very, very useful for the patients. So anyways, it's actually very hard. So there is something called CML. What is CML? CML is chronic myeloid leukemia. And what happens is that there is some kind of a chromosomal exchange between these two chromosomes, chromosome 9 and 22. These two genes come together, making a BCR-ABL gene, and that gives you a certain protein, which is tyrosine kinase activity. What happens is in cancerous condition. So when I say normal BCR-ABL signaling, that means in cancerous condition, what happens is that this protein actually transfers phosphate and makes the cell divide more and more, right? This kind of signaling will be stopped if you use certain drug. The drug is, say, imatinib. And if you put imatinib, then the imatinib will actually bind to this protein. And that way, it wouldn't let the phosphorylation happen. That way, it will stop the cells from dividing more and more. That means cancer is stopped. But as you keep giving this medicine again and again, resistance builds up, and we want to actually measure or detect that very early on during the medication. So how can we do that? Technically, right now, people use this kind of very detailed molecular methods using PCR and so on, which actually takes very, very long time. And also it takes very expensive, needs a lot of expertise and so on. How can we make a substitute case using Raman spectroscopy? So what we do is we actually measure two different kinds of cells, sensitive cells in red and resistant cells, that is drug resistant cells in blue. And we can do all sorts of different analysis. Let's just get to the Raman spectra. These are Raman data for both sensitive and resistant types. And then again, we run through this very similar kind of analysis that I showed in my previous example. And then what we found was that very clearly, we could separate it up to about 95% or 94%. And we could also extract very clean molecular components and actually identify the gains of DNA, right? So in the case of resistant types, there is a higher amount of DNA that is present. And based on that, towards ratio with cytochromes, we are able to actually separate them. That means if we are able to measure this content very quickly using Raman spectroscopy, we are able to actually make a very nice diagnosis of or classification of drug-resistant types of cells. Well, and one final example is that we are looking at something called as eosinophilic esophagitis. What is eosinophilic esophagitis? Esophagus is the food pipe that we actually, when you drink water or when you eat food, you feel that the food is going through, right? So that is the food pipe, right? So what happens is that in some cases, especially in elderly people, there is usually in the epithelial layer, there are no eosinophils. But during this condition, eosinophils will be invading the epithelial layer of the esophagus. And that is very difficult because once it happens, then there is very difficult to do, because we need to do lots of biopsy, and biopsies are not good, especially for the food pipe, and especially there are a lot many problems. So what we want to know is that can we identify, for example, the major point is that it's very easily detectable in late stages. You just put a camera, you can see these lines, you can see these furrows, you can say, okay, this is a problem. But in the early stages, you cannot see that. But we want to look at it and detect it very early on. And how do we do that? Using Raman spectroscopy. I'll get to that in a moment. But before that, let me give you some perspective. There are so many different kinds of blood cells. There's, say, for example, all these kinds of blood cells. And what we are looking at is eosinophil. We want to detect the presence of eosinophil on the food pipe, on the esophagus. And it's only 2 to 5% of all the blood cells are eosinophils. And however, they are fairly large. And we measured different kinds of blood cells, and then say this one eosinophil, and we are able to actually extract something very specific to eosinophil, that is eosinophil peroxidase, and using certain conditions. And now what we can do is that what we did was that we induced artificially this condition, eosinophilic esophagitis, in a mouse model, and then we cut. This is because we had to test, because we cannot directly go into the humans and do that. So we cut it, and then we measure different points in esophageal tissue, and then we are able to actually obtain Raman spectra. If you see in the control case where we do not induce anything, and in the case of IL-33 where we induce this condition, we can clearly see some kind of different Raman spectra showing up in those disease samples. And if you actually compare with a single real eosinophil, isolated eosinophil, it matches perfectly. And that says that we are able to actually detect the presence of eosinophils in the tissues. So we can also, of course, check, because the doctors always need secondary confirmation. So we also see very clearly the presence of eosinophils using H&E staining. and it's confirmed. So that means we can actually use this. The proof of principle is demonstrated, but what we want to do now is that we would like to actually make it into a Raman endoscope, where we put this laser through this Raman probe through the endoscope. So now routine endoscopy is done. In addition to that, if we can use one of these channels and use the laser to send there, and then collect the molecular information and try to detect directly, if you put this into the mouth and just check different points in the esophagus, hopefully we are under the expectation that we'll be able to detect the presence without actually having to cut or do any biopsy in the future. So thank you all for listening, and I think I don't have to summarize anything. You already heard the three beautiful examples. All I would like to do now is to actually thank all these people who have been very supportive in order to carry out these experiments, and of course the funding from all the sources from, of course, JSPS, JST, and Shimane University also as well. And this is a very beautiful place. In fact, we are on the west coast, and that means we are also very famous for sunset. So if you ever have a chance to come to Shimane and Matsue, please visit and enjoy the sunset here. And if you have any questions, or if you are interested in any of these things that I do, you always are welcome to write to me for either master's or PhD course. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Hemant. That was quite an insightful presentation, and I hope our students got this opportunity to connect with you if they are interested in your research as well as the potential areas. Thank you so much for the presentation. And Professor, would you mind sharing your contact details on our chat box so that the students get in touch with you and maybe have an idea about what's the university like and what are the potential research topic they can also work on. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. And I would welcome questions, then I'll answer the questions in the Q&A section. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we have the agenda slide, please?
Yes, Ms. Sakshi, just give me a minute.
Sure. So next up, we have presentation by Tokyo Institute of Technology. So to begin, to give you an insight on what Tokyo University of Technology is, so basically, this has a history of spanning of 130 years, and the institute's long-term goal is to become the world's leading science and technology university. So today we have a couple of panelists from the Tokyo Institute of Technology. So I would like to call Professor Hayashi, who is the Vice President for International Affairs and School of Life Science and Technology. So Professor, off to you.
Okay, thank you. So may I have, yes, thank you. So it is appropriate show to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's start. So I'm Vice President for International Affairs, Nobuhiro Hayashi. So I'm so pleased to introduce Tokyo Tech today. So at first, I want to introduce my colleagues today. So Professor Tomohiro Nozaki is Chief of International Admissions. And today, one Tokyo Tech, very hard to say, wonderful student from India is joining us. Ready? So thank you for your cooperation. And Lady Nozaki Sensei, may I have your
yes.
through video? So,
yes.
Yeah, only briefly. So first, Lady, are you there? Okay, Lady, thank you. So first, I'd like to let Professor Nozaki give you a description of Tokyo Tech and its degree programs. After that, I will introduce some opportunities for you to get to know Tokyo Tech more comfortably. After that, we will have a question and answer session. I will then ask Lady to participate. At that time, she will also answer to some questions from standing point of student view. So please feel free to ask at that time as a student. Okay, so shall we start? So I will pass the baton to Professor Nozaki. So Nozaki Sensei, please.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Nice introduction, Professor Hayashi. So I'd like to share the slide. Okay, so can everybody see the slide?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you very much. So, okay, I'd like to start my presentation. So it is about 15 minutes. Time is so limited, but I'd like to overview the Tokyo Tech. So actually, this is the main building of Tokyo Tech. So today, I have 5 sections. The first is the overview of the Tokyo Tech. The second is the degree programs. And then number 3, the student exchange programs. And then number 4, the student support, career support informations. So we have a special support who actually supports all international students for the career support and also daily life. And then like a summary with a brief introduction of the student ambassador activities, which is quite interesting for those who are interested in Tokyo Tech activity and also the life in Tokyo. So first, I'd like to introduce where Tokyo Tech is located. So here we have Japan, and this is an enlarged image of Tokyo area. He's actually the Tokyo, and this is Yokohama. And some of you may know that here's a Narita International Airport, and this is Haneda International Airport. Actually, we have 3 campuses, and one main campus which is called Okayama campus, which is located in the Tokyo here. So as you can see here, the campus is here, but this is located in the residential area of the city center. So this is very convenient, and then also you can have a very convenient life for study and everyday life. And the other campus is located in Yokohama area, which is called Suzukake-dai campus. Unlike Okayama campus, you will see that campus is surrounded by nice natures. So in the calm environment, you can really focus on study and life in Suzukake-dai campus. And also we have a third campus, which is called Tamachi campus. This is relatively small, and we plan to relocate Tamachi campus to the Okayama campus. So then I will skip this for details about Tamachi campus. And because Tokyo is so convenient, so this is nominated as number 3 QS student city 2022. So the Tokyo Tech actually has a long history, about 141 years of technical and innovation. Monotsuki is like a technology and science. So this picture was taken in 1941. I suppose that they are studying some kind of electrical engineering issues. And this is the picture of the state-of-the-art supercomputer, which is called Tsubame supercomputers. So Tokyo Tech was founded in 1881 as a Tokyo Vocational School by the Japanese government. And after that, 1929, Tokyo Vocational School was elevated to a degree conferring university at the Tokyo Institute of Technology. So then in 2004, the Tokyo Tech was re-established as an independent administrative institution and as a National University Corporation, Tokyo Institute of Technology. So we have more freedom and more flexibilities to provide more advanced technology for the research activity, and also more broad area of education for not only the domestic student, but also international students. And very recently in 2018, the Tokyo Tech received the status of designated national universities. One of the, of course, all universities is important, but Tokyo Tech is also designated as one of the most technologically and educationally advanced universities in Japan. I'd like to talk a little bit about the composition of personnel in the Tokyo Tech. The pie chart shows how many faculty and students consist of Tokyo Tech. And also here, table shows, for example, we have about, let me say, 4,800 undergraduate students in total, which includes 250 international students. And we also almost the same number of graduate students, about 5,700 graduate, which means master and doctors, which includes international students of approximately 1,500. And the number of faculty is about 1,100, and administrative and technical staff is 600. In total, 12,227 personnel that they actually belong to Tokyo Tech. So this number indicates that faculty student to faculty ratio is 9:1. So this means one faculty takes care of about 9 to 10 students. So this means, for example, if we belong to one specific laboratory for the research activity, so there may be, you can 10 students in terms of one professor. If the laboratory was owned by 2 professors, maybe you have 20 students. So this is one of the very important features of Tokyo Tech that you can provide very concentrated and intensive research and also education for the opportunity for all students. Also, I'd like to introduce about the statistics of the international students who come from which areas of the world. So the pie chart shows that most majority community come from China. All international students, about 60% of international student is a Chinese student. And then other part of the international student is also come from the East Asia and also Southeast Asia. So for example, Indonesia, the 7%, the South Korea, 6%, Thailand, Vietnam, and India, 2%. So you may think that a 2% it may be too small, but this is one of the reasons that we're providing this opportunity that would like to attract more students from India. So you are interested in joining Tokyo Tech. I hope that today's my presentation is really a good opportunity to motivate that you come to maybe Tokyo Tech or even Japan. So this is just briefly that I'd like to mention the ranking, university ranking of Tokyo Tech. This statistics was obtained from the QS World University Ranking based on the 2022. So for example, engineering and technology is at the 28th, and electrical and electronics activities or maybe department in 40th ranking, and overall 56th ranking. So now I'd like to briefly introduce the degree programs. So the Tokyo Tech, as I mentioned, that we have 3 campuses, but including all campuses, we have 6 schools. So for example, the School of Science, School of Computing, School of Engineering, School of Life Science and Technology, and School of Materials and Chemical Technology, and School of Environment and Society. So actually today, we don't have enough time to introduce all details about each schools. But if you're interested in what kind of research and study activity is possible, please visit our website, Tokyo Tech website. You can find what kind of education and research is going on in each schools. And also each school has several departments. So for example, the School of Science, it consists of mathematics, physics, chemistry, and earth and planetary sciences. And in my case, I belong to the Department of Mechanical Engineering. So that is the School of Engineering that consists of 3 different departments, like mechanical engineering, systems and control engineering, electrical and electronic engineering, information and communication engineering, and industrial engineering and economics. As you can see here, that each school has more than 2 independent departments. In total, we have 19 departments. I also would like to mention some unique feature of this the department system. So for example, we have about 8 interdisciplinary research activities. This is designed for the graduate school. So for example, we have energy science and technology that bridges the 6 different departments, such as chemistry, mechanical engineering, and also electrical engineering, material science and chemical science, and the transdisciplinary science and engineering. So even if you belong to mechanical engineering, you still have an opportunity to study the intensive subject about energy science and technology. In total, we have more than 25 independent departments, and we can have a very flexible opportunity to study in Tokyo Tech. Also briefly, I'd like to mention the education program. So we did the educational reformation in 2016. So I'd like to compare old system and the new system. This is actually current the curriculum for the lectures. So in the past, so we have an undergraduate, master, and doctor. All these education programs are fully independent and they are fully separated. So during your undergraduate study, so you have a very limited opportunity to study in the master course. However, this is fully transformed into the very flexible and overlapped education system like this. So for example, in the first year of undergraduate, you really focus on the very basic study for the undergraduate study. However, in the third and fourth years at the grade of undergraduate, you can see that you have many overlap between the master course and the undergraduate course. This means you can study some master course study even if you belong to undergraduate, and also vice versa. So if you go to the doctor, you can still study, have the chance to study master, and also if you're master, you have a chance to study some doctor. Another important thing is that we focus too much on the importance of the liberal arts courses. In the past, it is ended the fourth year of the bachelor undergraduate course, but this can continue to study until the doctors. Even if you're in the doctor course, you can still have to learn some subject about liberal arts. This is one of the important educational reformation which is initiated in 2016. So at the moment, unfortunately, for the undergraduate study, the Tokyo Tech provides all education based on the Japanese. So which means you need to study, you need to speak Japanese, otherwise it's really hard to get the courses. But still, we provide one opportunity, although it is limited, but we can provide the global scientist and engineering programs, which is called GSEP for the undergraduate. So all program education and research activity is provided in English. So you don't have to speak Japanese, but if you're interested in the joining the undergraduate course of Tokyo Tech studies, so you can apply GSTEP program. And we have a more advanced international graduate program course for the master and the doctors. So all program, the education and research activities are provided in English. So we have three types of full degree programs for the masters and also doctorate and integrated doctor and the master programs. So because time is limited, I will skip all the details, but if you're interested in joining IGP program in Tokyo Tech, please scan this QR code, and then you can go to directly jump into the Tokyo Tech homepage that provide a whole bunch of information about how to apply, when it is open, and which department is available. So please scan the QR code here, right? So I'd like to move to the next page. So the next, just briefly, because today's activity is between Tokyo Tech and India. So I'd like to just briefly mention about some statistics information about India and Tokyo Tech. So at the moment, we have only one partner university. So that is the Indian Institute of Technology, Bangladesh. So partner university is very important that a student can freely go back and forth between these two universities, and you do not have to pay the tuitions. They are exempted. And also you can take classes in the Tokyo Tech, and that this credit can be transferred into this university. So that the partner university partnership is very important. And at the moment, we have only one university here. And also, as I mentioned, that the majority of the international students are from China. Now we still have a 34% from India, that 4 people from undergraduate. As I mentioned, that the program is provided only in Japanese. This is maybe the reason that the number is quite limited. But for the master's and the doctor, we have 12 and 16 personnel, and also 2 people from as a research student. This is last year's statistics. So please do not hesitate that the number of India is small. So you can really join Tokyo Tech, and there are so many supporters to your study. Okay, so Okay, so I briefly mentioned the student support and career support. So one of the important issues living in Tokyo is that apartment or dormitory, because Tokyo is one of the expensive city in the world. So some of you may be worried about the expenses. But Tokyo Tech provides dormitories. You can see that we have a very brand new student house like this, which is located close to the campus. So here is a Senzokuke house. This is the Midorigaoka house. They all close to the Okaima campus. You can share you have your own private room that you can share as a house like this. And also the cost is really inexpensive. So this is not free available for all international students, but still you can have a highly possibility to join and to attend these dormitories. And also we have a very fulfilling career support systems. After the graduation, your interest is to the job hunting, and also you may go to different university for the master or doctor. And we have special supporters, the staff that they support your future careers. So finally, here's a brief information of Hisao and Hisako Taki Plaza. This is a brand new landmark in the Okaima campus, which is located in front of the main gate. So this is designed for enhanced interaction between the student, especially for the Japanese student and also international student, and also career support system and many supporters, special supporters. The office is located in the Hisao and Hisako Taki plazas. So whenever you have any problem or question, you just stop by this building and you can find any solution to have any question. It's a solution to any question you have. All right, this is finally I'd like to introduce student ambassadors. Currently we have 17 student ambassadors. You can see from these pictures that all students from different countries belong to the student ambassadors and providing a lot of information. So one of the important and interesting activity is the student blogs. So here you can see the QR code, you can scan this, and you can jump into the ambassador blogs. They provide how interesting the living in Tokyo or Tokyo Tech, what would be the problem with the different cultures between different countries. All kinds of information will be available from the student ambassador blogs. All right, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your questions. So I'd like to stop sharing my PPT, and the Professor Hayashi, can you organize the next presentation?
Yes. Okay, let's start from
Maybe speak too much.
no problem. Thank you, Nozaki sensei. Yeah, okay. So because time is limited, so I have to hurry. Okay, so again, I'm Vice President for International Affairs, but also a Dean of Center for International Education. So coordinating some university-wide international program to provide opportunity for you to know Tokyo Tech more and more easily than the degree programs introduced by Professor Nozaki. Okay, so I'll talk about some programs for international students held as university-wide non-degree programs. So with experience of attendance of those programs, you can spread your understanding with your interest to reach more suitable and specific programs held by each department. So yeah, I'm sorry, I could hardly explain about everything, but I recommend overseas students who want to know Tokyo Tech more to take some of those programs. That's what I will talk about. So these sorry. Okay. So these two programs are helpful for such students to know and experience Tokyo Tech as a first opportunities in Tokyo. In Tokyo Tech, there are two main non-degree programs, YCEP and ACAP. So please remember. So after this, I will talk about each of them minutely, but first, I will explain them roughly to summarize. First one is YCEP. young science and engineering research programs. In this program, students conduct individual research projects in the laboratories of Tokyo Tech that you want to stay. So you can freely select the research laboratories. And the second one is ACAP, Academic Course Access Program. In this program, students can study alongside Tokyo Tech students in regular courses offered on a quarterly basis or by semesters. So in these programs, you can take some regular classes open also for overseas students as you want. And this is a very important one. So these are student exchange programs between two universities, and the tuition is waived each other's, but in these cases, the attendee is restricted to students of our partner universities. And as Professor Nozaki mentioned, there are over 200 global partners all over the world. So please check whether your university is included or not. Yeah, you should be able to check the matters to hear from your university staff. At first, I'd like to explain about the WhatsApp, but time is limited. So yeah, please refer to these pages. So YCP students conduct the research under the guidance of an academic supervisors of Tokyo Tech Laboratories where you want to join. Okay. And the participants also engage in one of the designated cultural or learning activities such as Japanese languages, special courses for international students, or some cultural events. So on the other hand, ACAP. ACAP students take courses together with Tokyo Tech students. To say a simple way, so YCEP is a research-oriented program, while ACAP is a course-oriented program. Okay, so I omit. And this explains the eligibility of each of them. So this is a little bit important. Those who can apply for YCEP or ACAP are first, students from partner universities that have a tuition waiver agreement with Tokyo Tech, and also students who are enrolled in doctoral or master's programs. Or in case of YCEP, undergraduate students who have completed at least 2.5 years of undergraduate studies. On the other hand, in case of ACAP, undergraduate students who have completed at least 1 year of undergraduate studies. Okay, so if you meet one of the requirements shown here, you are eligible for applying for the YCEP or ACAP. Okay, so but I omitted details. So this is a procedure to apply, but you can easily access to these sites. Okay, so to find your academic supervisors, this website can be helpful. You can search for a potential supervisor by the research field or faculty affiliation by yourself. Okay, but through this system, you can easily access, reach to your hopeful supervisors. Okay. Here are the application deadlines for YCEP and ACAP, but also I omitted details because you can freely look at, so reach to the information through website. And one important thing is Japanese government supports overseas students to come and study in Japan. JASO, Japan Student Services Organizations, JASO, is an organization funded by the Japanese government. As for the ACAP, students who want to apply for a JASO scholarship must start the program in April or October earlier than the usual applications. Okay, so please remember. Also, the YCEP and ACAP applicants have an opportunity to apply for the JASO scholarship. And yeah, as I shown here, so 80,000 Japanese yens will provide you. Yeah, so how to say, wonderful. And details will be provided at the time of application, so don't worry. And but again, as for the ACAP, students who want to apply for a JASO scholarship must start the program in April or October. So a little bit different from the general participants. Okay. For more details, please visit our website. If you have any questions, please send us emails. And rather than these two programs, so I will talk about a more open system for overseas students to come and experience Tokyo Tech. But also I have to omit the details. So, but the system's name is International Visiting Student. So also you can freely access to this programs through our website. And yeah, also I omitted the details. But in this case, so this is very important for you maybe. So the fees as shown here. For more details, also please visit our website. And okay. And so this is again a large number of international students from all over the world come to Tokyo Tech to study and research, and the ratio of international students has reached nearly 20%, a little bit rare or different from the other Japanese universities. Okay, so you can take the opportunity to experience Tokyo Tech with the other overseas student rallies. And so we would like many students from overseas to enroll. So I would like young people to take a look at this homepage. So I've already let you know the URL. So please contact to please look at this website. Yeah, just put discover in front of TaiTech ACJP. So please remember it and let everyone know about it. Okay. So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. And I'm sorry to hurry, but I'm looking forward to seeing you in Tokyo Tech. And from now on, so we will take some time for question and answers. And
Okay. Thank you so much, Tokyo
Sorry.
University of. It's okay, Professor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists for presenting. Since we are running short of time, so I would just like to take a couple of questions from our Q&A portal. So quickly, if you can let us know about the entrance exam for the masters in Tokyo University of Technology. So that would be great. Professor Hayashi? Can you quickly tell us what's the procedure for the entrance exam, or maybe if there is any entrance exam required for the masters in Tokyo Institute of Technology?
I see. So yeah, because interest as for the master degree students, so IGP International how to say graduate programs. So the entrance examination will be held based on interviews. So not about the to be honest, not about their fundamental knowledge, but if you have to study about the more average than, because the Tokyo Tech is a cutting edge university, so professors will require you to have fundamental knowledge, so a little bit more skillful than, how to say, average levels. Is it okay to answer all your questions? But there's no paper examination. So interview basis examination is general for us.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. No worries. And just a quick last question. So so are there any other programs for YSEP and ACAP for students from non-partner universities?
Sorry, because the participant is limited to from their partner university. But so we are making effort to spread the range of the partnership universities. So to be honest, we are consulting the matter with some of Indian universities. So after establishment of partnership, yeah, you can freely attend these programs. So is it okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. And we do have some couple of questions on our Q&A portal. So if Riddhi, or the admissions office can answer those questions, that would be of great help. Also, I would request you to please leave your contact details on our chat box so that our students or potential students can get in touch with you. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
I'm sorry to hurry.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. So can we have our agenda slide, please? Thank you so much. So next, we have Kobayashi-san from Nagaoka University of Technology. So Nagaoka University of Technology is basically, just a second. Okay, so Nagaoka University of Technology is also known as NUT, was established under a new concept as the engineering university with an emphasis on its graduate school that conducts education and research directed at the development of practical technology. And today we have Ms. Kobayashi, who will be talking on behalf of Nagaoka University. So Ms. Kobayashi, would you like to share your screen?
Yes. Oh. Sorry. Is it audible? Sorry, and visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. This is Nagaoka University of Technology. My name is Norie Kobayashi Krishnapillai. I am a coordinator between Nagaoka University of Technology and IIT Madras. So today I'm going to talk about higher studies opportunity in Japan at Nagaoka University of Technology. It's called NUT. So first, where is Nagaoka? It's about 250 kilometers away from Tokyo Station, and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes trip by Shinkansen bullet train. So Tokyo is in the Pacific Ocean side, and Nagaoka is on the in the Japan sea side, but both are in the central area. Nagaoka is a old castle town, and it is a countryside, yet it is a very developed city. And it's a great location with Japan's longest river, mountains, and beach. And there are cultural diversity, like historical places, events, and sake breweries are very famous if you like. And then in the winter time, it is very much snowy. So you should enjoy winter sports. And in the summertime, you can enjoy world famous summer fireworks. Then talking about the university, it is a national technical university founded in 1976, one of top global university Japan. NUT is the only university in the world designated as a hub university for SDG 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure by United Nations Academic Impact. NUT's Gigaku SDG Institute was certified as UNESCO Chair's program as a UNESCO Chair on Engineering Education for Sustainable Development. Gigaku means Science of Technology, this word created by Nagaoka University of Technology. And NUT's international cooperative educational program using dual internship on multi-dimensional campus was selected by MEXT. So exchange and collaboration between NUT, IIT Madras, and York University in the UK just started since the end of last year for 5 years. So if anyone is from IIT Madras, we may have a chance to work together in this new project. NUT's fundamental education and research principles. So developing new technologies that can contribute to human prosperity and nurturing leading scientists who have the practical and creative skills to implement new technology while being aware of the nature of science and technology and their social impact. So NUT very much focuses on being practical and being active and involved in working together with industry. So as an engineering university that conducts education and research with a primary focus on application of the technological developments, NUT has created the Science of Technology. It's called GIGAKU, and trains practical and creative engineers to apply this science in collaboration with society. When you see the number of students, you can see it is a very small university. It focuses on research work. And the uniqueness is that the most students, about 80% of the students of this university, come from National Technical College called Kosen. Kosen is again a unique system of Japan. Most students who opt for engineering study from the early age, so at the age of 15, they can write the competitive exam, and then if they pass, they can join Kosen, and in Kosen they study for 5 years. Now, after 5 years of engineering study at the age of 20, they will join Nagaoka University of Technology for the third year. It's not the first or second, third year, fourth. So, if you're high school students who is looking for courses in English, sorry that NUT does not provide English courses for bachelor's first and second. So the core years at Nagaoka universities, bachelor's third, fourth, and master's first and second, and it goes up to doctors. And the percentage of international students, 12.2%, good mixture of students from various countries. And the employment rate is very high because it is the engineering university. And and also the students here are very much reputed by the industry. So job opportunities in Japan and home countries, both are available. And then programs and departments. For details, you please go to this link. So bachelor's program, now I skip. So master's program and doctor's program. If you find any interesting departments, you can think about applying for NUT, masters and doctors. And also there is a special program called 5-year integrated doctoral program called WISE. This means masters and doctors both are integrated. And they study this level within 5 years. And then another special course is called SDG professional course. It has a master's program and doctoral program, both are there. And this WISE and the SDG, they give scholarship. So most important is that you please go to this student written research laboratory guidebook, because you will first have to find your desired professor. If you go to this site, all the labs you can look at. Then you can decide which professor you want to work with. This must be a very useful link. And this is WISE program, as I mentioned. So available support, admission and tuition fees, 5 years are waived. And also financial support is given, and overseas and domestic travel expense support program also available. And then this is a SDG course. SDG course called professional course, master's program, doctor's program, both are available. And then if you click on this link, in fact, for this year, the application is already closed. So for 2024, please wait for the next information. for the application. Then another program just started is Inter-University Exchange Project between Nagaoka University of Technology, IIT Madras, and York University in the UK, working on core areas next generation EV and DX manufacturing. So if you are from IIT Madras, we may have opportunity to work each other in this program, if your domain is suited for this program. And next, there are actually many labs which many international students study. The example of labs to welcome international students. For example, mechanical engineering, material strength, bonding strength laboratory. Professor Miyashita Sensei, he is actually the head of India projects. So many, not only Indians, many students from abroad, they study together. And then Professor Otsuka, Mechanical Engineering Laboratory to evaluate structural safety. He also works with Professor Miyashita. And again, there are many international students. And then civil engineering, Highway Engineering Laboratory, Professor Takahashi, he is actually the Vice President of NUT, Vice President or Dean of NUT, in charge of international relations. So if you are from civil engineering, you can consider his lab. And there are actually many more labs that I cannot introduce everything, every lab today. So just to give an example, give some examples. And then there are many other programs happening, like bilateral symposiums organized by NUT and IIT Madras. Once in every 2 years, we are conducting symposiums. So if you are interested in that, you please join us. And then, so university mentorship program called Mutsumikai. So if you you may have some worries about languages and cultural difference and so on, but please do not worry too much, because tutor system, or I think they call it mentor system is mentor is the to be assigned for the first 3 months by the university to assist the students to international students to complete necessary formalities after arrival. So formalities like such as residence registration and health insurance application, they also help to prepare daily necessities to start a new life. And they give advice on study and daily life. And the university has Japanese language classes, and then study trips to scenic places across Japan. So Mutsumika is a voluntary group organized to support NUT international students. And food in Japan. Some of you may be vegetarians, but please do not worry too much about it, because now more and more recognition is there about vegetarians and vegans and also, but still, unlike India, vegetarian food recipes may be limited compared to India. So you can please ask you, tell that you are vegetarian, ask for vegetarian foods like this. These are available. And then a lot of non-veggies. I hear many Indians like ramen. So you may enjoy all these different types of foods. And then I think most Indian students like home cooking. And then these 3 students are from India. They share a big house. And then they cook together, or they cook in turns. And then so they like to cook their like hometown cooking from hometown. And then actually on this day I visited them. This is me. I visited them, and they cooked nice, warm, and tasty biryani and other things for me, which is very nice of them. People are very, very nice. very nice and very kind. And this is the city of Nagaoka in 4 seasons, spring, and this is summer, and autumn, and winter time, it goes like this. So please enjoy all these 4 seasons. And tips for application process. I don't know if I have time. Let me check. Oh, I don't have much time. So one thing very important is research plan. Please write a very good research plan. Please write a very good research plan. And you have to contact the desired laboratory or professor with a very good research plan, which should appear the professor. And then keeping LOR means letter of recommendation required. And then also health certificate is required. And helpful tips, if you have any inquiry, please go to this link. All the contact details are here. And then you can refer to the information on the Center for International Exchange and Education in these 2 links. I think this is all. So we welcome you to NUT and thank you very much for your attention. This is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Kobayashi-san. It was quite interesting and educative. Hope our attendees learned about the programs offered at Nagaoka Institute of Technology. So we will begin with the Q&A session now. I cannot see few questions. However, I would like to ask a few questions from you, if it's possible, on the students' behalf. In the meanwhile, we can have some questions on a Q&A portal. Kobayashi-san, am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I would like to know if you can give us, let us know if there is any career services or the job placement offices specific to the engineering programs. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, university is very active on that. And then actually I showed these 3 students. No, one already got placed in the in a very good company in the city itself. So the city of Nagaoka itself also helps students for their finding careers in the city, or also they can apply for anywhere around Japan. But in the city itself, Nagaoka city itself, there are many engineering companies, so they can apply for that. Okay. Many are placed in that city okay. itself.
Okay, thank you so much. Second, I would like to ask about the advisors. So once they get into the university, so is it possible to change the advisor just in case if they are unable? They would want to. Yeah.
They may have some rules that I'm not aware, but normally they don't. Normally they don't change. But actually, it is very much like interdisciplinary, no? Nowadays. So professors themselves, they work together. And students can explore different like domains.
Okay. I would also like to know that, like, apart from the academic background, what else do you see in a potential student for applying to Nagaoka University of Technology?
Oh, you mean Indian students?
Yeah. I mean, since this is Southeast Asia, so maybe like what else do you see in a student apart from their academic background? Like, for example, if they have to be very good with the co-curricular activities or they had participated in some kind of symposium. So is there any criteria, or maybe like what else do you see in those candidates?
No, just you should be very like motivated, no? Motivated and in your own research. That is the most important. And then, actually, masters onwards English programs are available. So please do not worry much about the Japanese. But if you want to work in Japan, still many companies require a certain level of Japanese. So during the study and research at the university, the students, I recommend the students to work on the Japanese language also. The university will help.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. One last question I would like to ask, like, do we have civil engineering in the university?
Yes, yes.
So could you kindly explain the process of admission for masters in civil engineering?
Master, yeah, like the professor at Tokyo Tech explained, we have a similar system. So it is not the written exam. Most interview is most important. Research plan and interview, these two are most important. You have to first contact the desired professor. So with a very good research plan, that should that should impress professor. And if you receive a favorable reply, then you can apply. You can apply to the university. That's the system.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we can wrap up with the Q&A session for Nagaoka University of Technology. So I would like to ask you to please leave your contact details so that our potential students can get in touch with you regarding the programs and other opportunities.
The chat box is okay?
Yes, please. Please do that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we have the agenda slide, please? So let's move on with our last set of presentations. So we have presentation from Ritsumeikan University. So Ritsumeikan University is a private university in Kyoto, and it's renowned for its international relations, science, and engineering programs, with the Graduate School of International Relations being the only Japanese member of the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs. And to present Ritsumeikan University, we have Ms. Priyanka Bangya, who is the Deputy Manager from Ritsumeikan India office. So Priyanka-san, off to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the patience. I've been working with Ritsumeikan University for last 12 years in India. And just will start with a small video and moving on to a small presentation with all of you. Yeah. 1 second. Okay.
Take my hand and I'll be your guide. I'll take you places that you'd never find. I know something about a state of mind. I've got the dreamer in me. Roses bloom and the sun will shine. Leave your troubles in the world behind. Stars shine brighter when you free your mind. I've got the dreamer in me. And when we reach the destination, you will see the world is waiting for the ones who hold the key. Just look inside, unlock the possibility. The dreamer lives in you and me. So take a breath and make the moment last. You'll never know if you never ask. All you need will be within your grasp. I've got the dreamer in me. And when we reach the destination, you will see the world is waiting for the ones who hold the key. Just look inside, unlock the possibility. The dreamer lives in me. You and me.
Thank you very much. So I will start the presentation. So this big R in Japan is very popular with the name of Ritsumeikan University. So today we'll understand why Ritsumeikan, why choose Japan, and why Ritsumeikan University. We've already understood why Japan, and each and every university have already shared. So I'll quickly share where are we located. We are located in Kansai region. That's about 2 hours from Tokyo. Talking about the Kyoto city. So Kyoto is a very historical city. It used to be the capital of Japan. It is very, very nostalgic and student friendly. So anybody who's coming to Japan, they do go to Tokyo and they do visit Kyoto, as so many World Heritage sites are, Kyoto is famous for. So this is Shiga. It's where we have our engineering campus. It's rich in nature, industrial, and relaxed. And Osaka. So we have our Osaka Ibaraki campus. That is very near to Osaka city. Talking about Osaka city, is very vibrant, welcoming, and commercial hub. Yeah. So talking about Ritsumeikan, we were founded in 1900. So it's 123 years old university. We've been selected by Japanese government as part of top global university Japan, and with 16 undergraduate colleges, 21 graduate school, 36,000 plus students, and 4 lakh plus alumni. We rank #1 in Western Japan with 139 foreign faculties teaching in all our campuses. With 2,755 foreign students from 71 countries and regions studying in Ritsumeikan. So we have a partner institution with 463 universities in about 68 countries and region. With 400 clubs and circles, the gym is complimentary for all the students on campus. So part-time job, any child coming to Japan to any university is allowed to work for 28 hours per week and 40 hours during holidays time. And they can get the work permit at the airport. So student support, we have student support. There is career planning, academic guidance, study abroad support, housing and academics, accommodation support, on-campus medical support, and the visa application. So all the support is provided as part of a student support system. So accommodation, we have accommodation for all our campuses, about 5 to 15 minutes maximum walking distance. And these accommodation belongs to the university. And in the first year, especially, all children, they can stay in the accommodation. We have 3,000 plus student staff as part of a peer support community. So, they are there to help you once you reach Japan, once you reach university, to make you settle in the university and in the accommodation. So talking about the career planning support, so whether you want to work in Japan or whether you want to work anywhere in the world, whether you want to study in Japan or anywhere in the world, all the children, they can take support of a career planning office, and they will be happy to support. And these are some of the major employers and the graduate schools that are mentioned in the list. So now I'll be very quickly sharing with you about the program. So we have 2 collaborative degree and 3 single degree. So the first collaborative degree that I'll be talking about would be a dual degree program with Australian National University. You get 2 degrees with this program. So you get a degree from Ritsumeikan, Japan, and you get a degree from ANU, that is Australian National University, Australia. So you get to study in both the universities. You're taught by both the professors from both the universities. And we have April and September intake. For the children who are keen on applying for September to this September, our application will open on February 15th for most of our programs. So I will suggest you can contact me. All my contact details and the links I have already shared in the chat column. Yeah. So to share more about the program, so this is how it will look like. You graduate with 2 degrees, and it's a liberal arts program. And some of the pictures from ANU campus, Australia. And the second degree is a joint degree with American University, where you get a joint degree. So you get to study in both universities in Ritsumeikan and in American University in America in Washington, DC. And the program is BA in Global International Relation. And talking about the third program, it's BA in International Relation. It's a 4-year full-time program. We're the only university in Japan who's have the full accreditation of APSIA for our international relation program. And there are some around the world, and some of them are Ivy League who have this kind of a full accreditation. To talk about some of them are like Harvard, Yale, and American University, and many more. So this program, again, the application will be opening for September 2023. We are opening our application on February 15th. So if you're keen, please contact. And this is about APSIA, I just mentioned. And the fourth program is BA in Policy Science. It's a 4-year full-time program. Again, the application is opening on February 15. We have a fully funded MEC scholarship for this program. I'll be sharing more details for the same later. It's called as a Community and Regional Policy Study major. And the last program that I would want to share is Bachelor of Engineering. It's a 4-year full-time program. And again, the application is opening on February 15 for this program as well. And some of the key features that I can talk about the program is IoT, business intelligence, data science, artificial intelligence, robot technology, human interface, effective engineering, digital human, virtual reality, advanced computer graphic. And this is about the Bachelor of Engineering program. So what is the process? How to apply? It's a very simple process. The application is completely online on TAIO, and we don't need Japanese. So no Japanese proficiency is required for admission. And there is a multiple application period. And so you just have to go on the link that I've already mentioned, download the application handbook, create your TAIO account, upload the documents once the application opens on February 15th, and pay the application fee after you upload the documents. You know, and to share with you the fee structure, I have converted into rupees as well. So for most of the, to start with, for most of the program, you know, it starts with 8 lakhs, and for some program it is 9 lakhs. This does not include the scholarship. So we have a 20%, 50%, and 100% tuition reduction scholarship that is available. So this is a tuition reduction scholarship. And this is the scholarship that I was talking about, the MEC scholarship that we have for a policy science program. So this scholarship eligibility, India is part of the list, and it includes the tuition waiver. The admission fee is also waived. Living stipend, approximately 1,20,000 Japanese yen per month. And the travel allowance, that is a round fare ticket once going to Japan and after 4 years coming back. And duration is 4 years, and the number of students, about six students. So no separate application is required. You just have to apply to the university, apply for the program, and you will be shortlisted on the basis of your application and interview. To talk about a graduate school, we have a graduate school for the programs like international relation, policy science, technology and management. We have PhD program, and economics, science and engineering, information science and engineering, and life sciences. We have master's and PhD program as well. So if you are keen on our graduate school, I have already left the link in the chat column, but you can use this QR code as well. And I have also left the email ID of the graduate admission team. You can contact them. And to talk about the undergraduate program, I've already shared, but you can use this QR code and you will have this pamphlet where you have all the details of the application deadlines. Yeah. And, student voices, we have students from all over the world, and we also have student voices from India as part of the student voices on our website. So you can use this QR code and you can, hear the experiences of different students from different parts of the world. Yeah. And so these are my details. So my email ID I have already shared, and my mobile number also I have shared with you in the chat column. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And as I already mentioned, the application is opening on February 15th. So please, you're more than welcome to contact me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka-san. And I hope our students got to know about the programs offered at RU, and we hope to receive many applications as possible. Thank you so much. So now we would like to start with the Q&A session. So could you kindly tell us about the application process for MEX scholarship, since the application is opening up? So if students want to know more about the MEX scholarship, if you could let us know.
Thank you, Sakshi-san. With the MEX scholarship, we don't have any separate application form. For our policy science program, we have MEX scholarship available. It would be based on applying normally that the student is applying for our undergraduate program. So the documents, very basic documents that are required would be your passport copy, your 11th, 12th, and the predicted scores. Essays are very, very important for us. So essay topics are already mentioned on our website and the application handbook. If you're unable to find, you can contact me and I can share where exactly it is mentioned. And if you have given IELTS and TOEFL, you can submit the scores. Otherwise, we have an English waiver form for most of our programs. So you can use that. So these are the simple documents that are required to apply for the MEX scholarship. Yes. Thank you, Sakshi-san. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Priyanka-san. As for the master's program at Ritsumeikan, so are the process same or is it different from the MEX scholarship?
Yeah. So for the master's program, I will encourage all the children for master's and PhD to contact the master's team. I have already shared the email ID. The process is little different. They will, you have to send your details and they will make you in touch with the professor. So that is why, we encourage the children to contact the master's admission office. Yeah, but I'll be happy to help you, sharing with you the graduate brochure and sharing with you how you can contact the admission office. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. How about the short-term programs? For example, the summer programs at Ritsumeikan University. So do we really need to have some kind of a partner university, or if a student wants to do a short-term program at RU, it's possible or not? So could you kindly tell us about that as well?
Yeah, thank you. So if the child, what I've understood. So first is that the child is studying in Ritsumeikan. As I've already mentioned, we have partner institution. So if the child wants to do a short duration or a semester, they can contact our partner institution around the world and accordingly apply, and they have an opportunity to study there as well. The other part, what I've understood, is a summer program. So, with the COVID restriction, so we were having summer program, but with the COVID restriction, it is on hold. But, keeping finger crossed, I feel we should start again very soon. So if any child is keen, please, follow our Facebook, and, you can send a message or an email and follow our Facebook. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And just the last question about the internship opportunities as well as the placement. So like, is there any, I mean, what's the percentage like? If there is no set of percentage, but maybe like how many students do get placed in maybe in Japan or say outside of Japan after completing their bachelor's and or master's at RU? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So what I can share. So I can share with last 12 years working with Ritsumeikan India office, and the trend that I have seen, that many children, they are very keen on doing their masters also. So many of them, they they have even they applied for masters in Ritsumeikan or around different universities in Japan. And also many of them, they have applied and they have gone to doing masters around the world. So many of them in UK, Canada, US, Australia, in different universities around the world. So those opportunities are also available. In terms of the work, career options, yes, we have students who have been placed in Japan and around the world, and we have different stories for the same on our website and on. So I will encourage all of you, please, if you can go on the website, and if you're unable to, I have shared the links with you, or you can contact me and I can share the real stories of students from around the world. So not just Indian students, but students from different parts of the world who have studied in Ritsumeikan and where they're working now. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Priyanka-san. And you have already left your contact details on our chat box. So students, kindly, I request you to please get in touch with Ms. Priyanka if you are aiming for Ritsumeikan University. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we have the gender slide, please?
Yes, give me a minute.
Sure. Okay, so this marks the end of our webinar. Thank you so much to all the panelists and attendees for participating in today's webinar. The recordings of the webinars conducted earlier are uploaded on the University of Tokyo India office's website. The link is also shared in the chat box, so I request you to kindly check that as well. And for the more information about the Japanese universities, please join our upcoming webinars. So we would share a QR code with you. So kindly register yourself, and also we look forward for in our upcoming webinars. So thank you so much for participating, and thank you so much to all the panelists again.
Thank you. Also, I would just like to remind all the attendees to please fill up the forms that are in the chat box. Thank you.